Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here with me today. My topic today, my name is Allie, and thank you for coming. My topic today is about developing a growth mindset. And it's nothing that I've invented. It actually was a wonderful book that came out about growth and fixed mindset by a Stanford psychology professor, Carol Dweck. And it's been out for a couple of years now. But I love the theory, I love its application, and I absolutely love the message. So I'd like to share that with you all. So, can you imagine if you were always thinking in your life that you weren't smart enough, you weren't genius, you weren't successful, you would never be able to do X, Y, Z? Well, that's a fixed mindset. And what if I told you that intelligence is malleable? Individuals with a growth mindset believe that through effort and learning, they can improve their intelligence and their abilities. I grew up in a small town and went to high school in a small town. In that small town, I had a lot of people that went to high school with me that were brilliant. I was not a math person. If I could have taken just math and nothing else for one whole year, I might have been okay. But I was told when I was in the fourth grade that I had a block in math and I would never learn it. And I owned it. And that was my fixed mindset. I was forever and always going to be a C student, no matter how hard I tried. So why not just not even try? So this particular theory is that a growth mindset is the belief that abilities, including intelligence, can be developed through this dedication rather than being fixed. And there are some people who are believe that our potential, our abilities were already set in stone the day that we were born. In other words, we'll never get any smarter. We'll never be able to change anything. So let's just take what we have and make a lot of excuses for the fact that you can't get any further up. So do you ever look at others hitting those big goals and thinking, wow, they're different. They've got something I don't have. Their belief that our abilities are fixed that is what causes fixed mindset, that you either have it or you don't have it. It's incredibly common. And many times our parents or our teachers or our religious leaders, or they say to, do the best you can. I know you're limited in what you can do. That's not true. This has to change. And Carol came up with an awful lot of wonderful ways for us to do that. She said that we need to embrace challenges, not run from them, and not look at them as anything that was a failure, if a failure is what is perceived, but to look at it as growth and learning and the ability to have stick-to-itiveness rather than threat to our perceived abilities. I have to admit, I was always feeling very threatened. Somebody else would do something and mine wasn't good enough. But I also became very impatient with myself because I knew in my fixed mindset, I couldn't be any better. My parents didn't go to college. My brothers didn't go to college. And I probably won't be able to do that either. However, I was able to do that. And so some of that growth mindset was set in that stone, although I still didn't aspire to be anything better than a C student because I didn't think I had the capacity or the ability in order to have this growth mindset and succeed in whatever it was that I wanted to do. People who have growth mindset persist through setbacks. They see failures as only temporary obstacles that can be overcome with effort and learning, and make the decision to set time away in order to do that. So people with growth mindset set goals, set the way to achieve those goals, and also a way to check in as you go along and figure out if you're doing what it is you wanted to do, or are you straying into something very, very different. They also value effort. They understand that effort is a crucial ingredient in developing skills and achieving mastery. So I have a lot of students that English is their second language, and they write papers very differently than people whose English is this language. And I'm not talking about slang, and I'm not talking about just normal writing, because that's a different situation. If you don't apply yourself, if you just consider yourself to not be a good writer, which a lot of people feel, they can never be any better than they already are. But I've seen people strive, and I've seen people do that over and over again until it becomes something that is second nature to them. What we don't understand, at least in the writing genre, is that reading is what directs our writing. We know how to take words and combine them together to make something because we've read a lot of books or learned a lot from other people's writing. And that actually goes back to the fifth, fourth, third, second grade. If you can learn that, and if you can have that mastery at that time, you have less trouble. But it's not too late. To think it is to have a fixed mindset. To know it isn't and to know you could achieve whatever it was is a growth mindset. I'll remind you of Malcolm X, the religious leader of Islam in the 60s, who was jailed for what he had done. And while he was in jail, he taught himself how to read and write. He started by reading and writing from a dictionary, if you can even imagine. And then he moved from reading and writing the dictionary into reading books and reading all kinds of books and learning how to put sentence structure together and learning about how you're supposed to, what fragments were, what colloquial language was. Everything that he learned on his own as a man in his 20s, I believe. He did not have any of that knowledge prior to that. Had he understood that he could have wallowed in fixed mindset, he would never have achieved the growth mindset that he earned and that he could tell others about in his biography. Also, people with growth mindset learn from criticism. They see feedback and criticism as valuable. They don't take it personally. Let me know what I can do so that I can do the job better. They aim for the higher goals. They know that they have to stumble before they can stand. So this is just some of the things that Carol Dweck talked about. She said, living a born with it myth only limits us. It doesn't just hold us back. It actively shapes a life that feels unfulfilled. We don't even know sometimes that we're sitting in a fixed mindset until somebody asks us, can you do this? And we say, oh, I can't do that. I'm no good at that. That isn't something I can do. Why isn't it something you can do? Because you don't believe you can do it. Carol is saying, if it's that old college try and move out of this defeatist, fixed attitude. Think about it. How many cool opportunities have you sidestepped because you worried you weren't smart enough, talented enough, or skilled enough? Why didn't you? Why didn't you think you were? Sometimes when we're filling out our resumes, we look at it and we say, we forget everything we've done. We forget we've had communication with other people, that we have wonderful computer skills, that we're able to articulate and speak to other people, that we listen, that we're kind, that we have learned how to handle structure and working with other people and learning new things. Because you need to learn, continue to learn until you die. We never know everything, and we never will know everything, but we can add to the toolbox every single time. We can find something to read. We can watch a documentary. We can have a conversation. We can go to an art museum. We can do all kinds of things, but we have to make the first step in order to do them. The fear of failing, especially when you believe failure is a final judgment and that you can never, ever do anything, it's paralyzing. It holds us back from meeting our true potential. It makes you play it safe and stick to what you know and avoid the very challenges that help you grow. How do we know we can do it unless we try? And how do we not try is we think we can't. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if you believe you are stuck in a fixed mindset. This mindset just doesn't mess with your big dreams, though. It creeps into other things, everyday stuff. It can make you super defensive when someone offers you constructive criticism, making you see it as a personal attack instead of a chance to make it better. When it comes to personal growth, you might give up on learning a new skill after the first tricky part, telling yourself, I'm just not cut out for this. I can't do this. This happened to me in banking. I had to learn how to open new accounts, and I had to learn how to do teller work and how to do bonds and how to do IRAs and collateral loans. And oh my God, I'm not smart enough to do all that. Oh my God, how can I do that? You do it, and you do it over and over until you own it, and you make mistakes and you learn from those mistakes, and they help you grow and they make you more curious. Now you're adding to your own toolkit in that area of your life. You're learning and you're growing and your skills are expanding. It's fabulous. Don't believe that you're cut out, that you've missed the chance to learn, that your career is holding you back. It's the direct result of believing that your abilities can't change. And that's just not true. I had a woman who worked in a scientific community for 45 years of her life. From the age of 20, she was 65 years old when she came to my world literature class, which she had to take to pursue a degree in nursing at 65 years old. She had to go through an undergraduate degree and then take other classes after that in order to be a nurse. She didn't question her ability. She knew she could do it. As a matter of fact, I've never seen anybody as courageous as she was. At the time, I was only in my 50s, and I thought, wow, I thought I started late. She's fabulous. She became a nurse within 4 years and started a whole new career at 69 years old, or 69 years young, depending on how you look at it. If you think you're old, you are. If you think you're young, you are. We are our own worst enemies when it comes to believing or not believing in ourselves. So growth mindset comes along also when we find a new way of looking at things. Something new comes into our life that challenges our current belief system or a paradigm that we're just used to. This is where people fall down and stay in fixed mindset. They believe what they were being told. They believe what they've learned in the past, and nobody's going to make them change their mind. And they just love to argue with you about that. You don't need to bother with those people because they're not ready to change. But if you're ready to make a change and you want to see things in a new way, growth mindset is the way to go. If you're staying in fixed mindset, you're staying in the past. You're not moving forward. So Carol Dweck at her core says, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, your intelligence, your talents, as I mentioned, even your genius, come to you through dedication, hard work, and learning and not giving up. There were a lot of people who also buy into the imposter syndrome, where you learn something, you own it, and your old mindset says, you're not smart enough to be that thing. You're not smart enough to be a professor. You're not smart enough to read tarot. You're not smart enough to fill in the blank. BS. That's BS. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Think of your intelligence like a cup that's either full or empty, and more like a muscle gets stronger as you use it. People with growth mindset really get this. They believe that anybody can get smarter at any age and more capable as well, just by putting in effort. They see challenges not as scary threats, but as exciting chances to stretch the boundaries of what they know and grow. There is no failure. That's not a sign that you're not good enough. It's just valuable feedback, a lesson learned on the road to getting really good at something. Many people have tried and failed over and over. Inventors have, politicians have, scientists have. We have the greatest of things because people persevered. They knew they could find the cure or the way of figuring out something. This is the mindset that truly tops performers always follow. Think about Olympic athletes and how they have to do this over and over again. Were they born thinking that they had the ability to do something that they'd never tried before? But they did. They believed in themselves. New research even looks at what's happening in our brains with growth mindset. It seems to be linked to handling errors more efficiently, and actively working on growth mindset can lead to changes in our brains. For those of us over a certain age, and I won't mention it, it's keeping us active and stretching our minds so that we don't go into these dementia-laden issues and we don't have a lot of memory issues. Even if it's crossword puzzles, finding new words, those are ways in order to stretch the mind. Find something new to learn about. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube you can listen to in order to try new things. So choosing a growth mindset, it isn't just wishful thinking. It's actually about training your brain to get better at learning and adapting, and bringing along some of your friends in the way. Tell them, I hang around with people with growth mindset. When this happens, you build a growth mindset, you're pretty amazing. It shows up in every part of your life. And so it boosts your problem-solving skills, where you believe you can grow and you can tackle something. It builds incredible resilience, which we all needed during the lockdown back in 2020. Life does throw us curveballs. And, initially we're going to say to ourselves, oy vey, how am I going to get through this? But with resilience, you do get through it. Not only that, but you thrive. You learn. A growth mindset changes how you react. Instead of falling apart or giving up, you see setbacks as a chance to learn, adjust, and come back even stronger. This kind of persistence is absolutely key for hitting any goals that you may want. Whether it's your school, your career, your personal hobbies, maybe you want to learn how to knit. Maybe you want to do a latch hook rug. Maybe you want to paint. It doesn't have to be learning for school learning. It's anything that you believe you can do that maybe you were told you couldn't, or you told yourself you couldn't. It feels a lot like constant personal evolution when you do this. Once you start and once you make a commitment to it, it flows so much easier as you go along. You become a lifelong learner. You're open to feedback. You roll with the changes. You're always looking for ways to improve yourself or bring something new to your life. Think about somebody like Michael Jordan. We all talk about his incredible talent. Well, he wasn't born that way. He had to learn how to be that way. And then he went into business and he was a very successful businessman. He had to learn about business. He had to learn all these things, all these new things. He took his growth mindset and extrapolated it out in his life. And there are many other people who have the same wonderful abilities. So the really cool thing about growth mindset is it works everywhere. It's not for one part of your life. Its ideas can help you tap into your potential. It drives self-improvement. It helps you in your professional or career growth. It's for entrepreneurs. It's a mindset entrepreneurs have to have. They start a business. There's lots of setbacks. There's lots of things going on, and you have to persevere and be resilient through them all. And eventually, your growth mindset pulls you through. You adapt, you develop, you learn, you grow. In education, students who believe their intelligence can grow are more likely to try challenging subjects. When I was in undergrad, I didn't try anything challenging, and I still didn't do very well. When I made the decision that I could do whatever it was that I wanted to do, and I was in my 40s by then, I made it and dedicated myself to getting the best grades I could possibly get, because that was my growth mindset. No one was going to stop me. If I failed, it was my own problem. And yes, I got a B in one of my classes. It just about devastated me. And then I thought, but Allie, there's nothing wrong with a B. And I've learned to tell my students the same thing. B's are beautiful. Even in relationships, a growth mindset can help you as well. It helps people believe that they and their partners can change and grow together. And this means more empathy and more constructive ways to handle disagreements. Instead of seeing a fight as a sign you're not compatible, see it as a chance to understand each other better and help your bond grow stronger. So you can extrapolate this out into anything that you're interested in growing. Relationships grow, time grows, and it passes us by. We can't say, I'll do that later. It must be in the now. It must be in the now. Get to know what your thoughts are. Start by noticing your thoughts when you hit a setback or someone criticizes you. What's the little voice in your head saying? Is it saying, oh, I'm a failure? That's fixed mindset. That's not even true. Or do you say, okay, what can I learn from this? That's growth mindset. Embrace challenges that come in your way. Go look for tasks that stretch you a bit out of your comfort zone. For instance, running. Instead of running from difficulty, see it as a chance to build new skills. Remember, when something feels hard, it means you're learning. Even if you want to learn divination, you want to learn about pendulums, you want to learn about channeling. It doesn't really matter what it is that you want to learn about. You're growing. Yeah, it's a little hard. It's okay. It's not going to stay hard. You're going to be okay. You really will. Learn from your criticism, as mentioned. Focus on effort process, not just natural talent. Get curious. I'll hear something, a new word I've never heard before, and I have to go look it up. Or I'll see somebody that I've never seen before in a show that I really liked as an actor or an actress. And I look them up and find out what else they've done. I'm curious. And with Google this, it's so much easier than it used to be. Oh my goodness. It takes you 5 minutes to get the whole scoop on whoever it is after you read it. And you instantaneously understand. And you may learn some new Scrabble words in the meantime. Learn to set goals, not just performance goals, but goals ahead. I want to get an A. I want to understand this topic so well that I can explain it to somebody else. That's important. That's why I like this. It's amazing the differences in people that have learned about growth mindset that are in my college classes. Once they learn about it, it empowers them. And I always can tell who doesn't want to change, and there's nothing I can do. But there is a difference between a fixed and growth mindset student. Be patient, be persistent, celebrate other people's successes, Celebrate other people in general. Reflect and adjust to whatever it is you have to do to tweak your growth mindset. They won't happen overnight. These things don't just, we aren't genies. We just can't make something happen. But if we develop the idea and we bring ourselves back to this growth mindset and stop putting limitations in our thinking or our belief system that we're just not smart enough, we weren't born with it, we don't know how to do it. We need to stop that gibberish, that voice in our head, and say that this is a journey of rewiring how we think. And just like any change, it takes persistence. It's the power to achieve amazing things, to get through tough challenges, to keep evolving, all wrapped up in this basic shift of how you see things now. It's about truly believing you can grow and then actually doing the things that make that growth happen. So the question isn't really whether you were born with it. The question is, are you ready to build it? Thank you so much. I wish you well in your approach to growth mindset, and I appreciate you listening to my video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.